There is a strange paradox plaguing all of our minds. Consider the people you admire, the innovators, legendary athletes, or great artists. When we read their biographies, which part do we love the most? Which part makes us feel connected to them? It isn't the moment they hold the trophy. It isn't the moment they become billionaires. We fall in love with the moment they got fired, when they were rejected by publishers 12 times, when they went bankrupt and slept on their office floor. We romanticize their failures as the heroic seasoning of their struggle. But when that failure happens to us, the story changes completely. We don't view it as a heroic struggle. We view it as a disgrace. We see it as proof that we are defective, incompetent, and shameful. Why can we be so gentle with others, yet so brutal with ourselves? The answer lies in a flaw in human cognition called the spotlight effect. Researched by psychologist Thomas Gilovich, this effect explains our brain's natural narcissistic tendency. We feel as though we are the main character in a movie, and the whole world is the audience. Imagine you are giving a presentation and you stumble over your words. Or you post your work on social media and no one likes it. Or your business goes under. In your head, it feels like a giant 5,000-watt spotlight has switched on, beaming directly onto your face. You feel every eye staring at you, everyone discussing your mistake, everyone laughing at your stupidity. Cold sweat pours down, your heart races. You feel like you want to disappear into the earth. But here is the scientific fact that will set you free. The spotlight does not exist. It is merely a mental optical illusion. In reality, others are not thinking about your failure. They are too busy, too anxious, and too obsessed with thinking about their own failures. They are also standing beneath their own imaginary spotlights. So if logically no one cares, why does the fear of failure feel so paralyzing? Why does it feel like a death threat? Because for our ancestors, it was indeed a death threat. Our brain's operating system is still the Stone Age version. Thousands of years ago, our survival depended entirely on tribal acceptance. If you made a fatal mistake, failed to hunt, or violated a social rule, the punishment was exile. You were kicked out of the cave, and in the wild, being alone meant death. So, that shame burning in your chest when you fail, it isn't just an emotion. It is a primal biological alarm screaming, "Watch out! If you fail, you will be cast out. You will die." The fear of failure at its core is the fear of loneliness. This is why many of us become perfectionists. Please understand this clearly. Perfectionism is not high standards. That is a lie we tell ourselves. Perfectionism is a 20-ton shield we carry everywhere, hoping that if we appear perfect, we will never be hurt. We will never be rejected. But that shield doesn't protect you. That shield actually imprisons you. It makes you afraid to move. It makes you afraid to create. So, the first step in the art of failure is to turn off that spotlight. Accept these two pieces of news simultaneously. The bad news: no one cares about your failure. The good news: no one cares about your failure. The world is not watching you. And that means you are free to experiment. Let's leave feelings and ego aside for a moment and step into the biological machine inside your skull. There is a fatal misconception about how the human brain gets smart. We often think that we are learning when we succeed, when we answer correctly, when the ball goes into the net, or when a presentation goes smoothly. Neurobiologically speaking, that isn't entirely accurate. When you do something perfectly, your brain actually isn't learning anything new. Your brain is merely executing an existing memory. It is just repetition. To your neurons, success is boring. True learning, a real biological upgrade, only happens when there is a gap between what you expected and what actually happened. That gap is what we call failure. In science, this is known as the error signal. Imagine an electric circuit in your head. Every time you try something and fail, for example, your finger slips while playing guitar, or your programming code has a bug, your brain jolts awake. Your nervous system detects that mismatch and releases neuromodulator chemicals. Your focus sharpens. And here is where the physical magic happens. This process is called myelination. Every time you make a mistake, notice it and try to correct it even slightly. That active neural circuit gets wrapped in a layer of white fat called myelin. Think of myelin as insulation for electrical wires, or better yet, imagine it as highway asphalt. Without myelin, signals in your brain move slowly through a muddy footpath. You are clumsy, you are slow, you are an amateur. But with repeated failure and consistent correction, that myelin layer thickens. The footpath turns into a toll-free superhighway. Signals move as fast as lightning. That is what we call skill or talent. So understand this biological math. You cannot build that superhighway without going through a messy construction process. You cannot become an expert without wrapping your nerves in myelin. And the raw material for myelin is the correction of failure. If you need proof, look at the most brilliant learner on the face of the earth, the human baby. Observe a baby learning to walk. Does he immediately stand tall and run? No. He wobbles, he falls, he bumps into the table, he falls again. On average, a baby falls dozens of times every hour. But does that baby ever sit on the floor, stare at his legs and think, it seems I'm not talented at walking. It's embarrassing to be seen. I better just crawl for the rest of my life? No, because babies don't have egos yet. For a baby, falling isn't an identity crisis. Falling is just data. Every time his butt hits the floor, his brain notes, okay, weight too far to the left, correct to the right a bit, try again, fall again, correct again. This is what former NASA engineer Mark Rober calls the Super Mario effect. When you play Super Mario and fall into a pit, you don't feel like you are worthless. You don't get depressed. You just know that there is a pit there. So on the next attempt, you have to jump a little earlier. You are obsessed with the end goal, saving the princess, not with the hole you fell into. The tragedy of becoming an adult is that we lose this superpower. We start involving feelings in a process that should be purely logical. We stop seeing failure as data for improvement and start seeing it as a verdict on competence. We have to rehack our brains. Stop trying to look smart from the start. That is impossible. Your job is not to avoid those error signals. Your job is to hunt down those error signals as much as possible and as fast as possible. Because inside your brain, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the fuel. Have you ever asked yourself why air transport is the safest way to travel in human history? The statistics are astounding. The odds of dying in a commercial plane crash are 1 in several million. It is far safer than riding a motorcycle or even walking on the sidewalk. Is this because pilots are superhumans who never make mistakes? Is it because aircraft engines are perfect? Not at all. The aviation world has become so safe precisely because this industry has a strange obsession with failure. They possess an orange object, which we ironically call a black box. This object is made of titanium, explosion-proof, fireproof, and withstands deep sea pressure. It has only one function: to record every detail of an error before destruction occurs. This is what author Matthew Syed calls black box thinking. Observe the difference. In aviation, when a plane crashes, it is a global tragedy, but the response is very specific. Independent investigators are deployed. The black box is desperately sought after. The goal is not to find who is at fault to put them in prison, but to find what went wrong with the system. Once the data is found, for example, a confusing button or a flawed procedure, that information is not hidden. That information is disseminated worldwide. Every pilot in other airlines in other countries studies that data. Procedures are changed. Manuals are updated. This means one plane crashing today ensures that millions of other planes will not crash in the same way tomorrow. They turn lost lives into safety data. They do not let that failure be in vain. Now, let us compare this with how most people, and unfortunately some other institutions, face failure. In many aspects of life, we do not have a black box. We have an ego. Matthew Syed compares this to the medical culture of the past. Historically, when a surgeon made a fatal mistake and a patient died, there was often no open investigation. Why? Because of hierarchy, because of prestige, because of the fear of being sued. The error was labeled to obscure the facts: unexpected complications, bad luck, or God's will. The doctor might say to himself, "I did my best. This was just a difficult case." This is what is called a closed loop. Information about the failure is not recorded but buried with the patient. The result? The same doctor could make the same mistake on the next patient. No evolution, no learning. And here is the bitter reality. Most of us live our lives not like pilots, but like that archaic medical system. When your romantic relationship fails, do you open the black box of that relationship? Do you analyze your toxic communication patterns? Or do you just say, they were just a jerk, I was just unlucky to meet the wrong person? When you get fired or your business goes bankrupt, do you dissect your financial data and your decisions? Or do you immediately blame the economic situation and the government? As long as you refuse to look at the failure data, you are in a closed loop. You protect your feelings, yes. You feel comfortable for a moment, but you sacrifice your future. You throw away the expensive cost you have already paid through that failure. The art of failure demands radical courage. It demands you enter the smoking wreckage of your failure, search for its black box amidst the debris of ego, and play back that painful data recording. Listen to where you went wrong. See where you were careless. Do not look away, because only by staring at the brutal truth can you transform an accident into a stepping stone. We live in a culture obsessed with addition. We are taught that to be successful, we must add new things. Add skills, add degrees, add connections, add wealth. We think life is like building a brick wall, stacking one by one until it stands high. But what if that view is wrong? What if the highest wisdom is actually not about adding, but about subtracting? This is an ancient principle that in theology and philosophy is called via negativa, the negative way, or the path through elimination. Contemporary thinker Nassim Nicholas Taleb repopularized this concept in a modern context. His premise is simple yet radical. Our knowledge of what is wrong is far more robust than our knowledge of what is right. Think about it. It is very difficult to define a precise recipe for a happy life. There are thousands of theories, and all are debatable, but we know exactly what makes life miserable. Drug addiction? Misery. Drowning in bad debt? Misery. Being in an abusive relationship? Misery. So the fastest way to improve life is not by seeking a magic recipe for happiness, but by eliminating the things that guarantee misery. Here lies the true role of failure. Failure is not a step backward. Failure is a process of elimination. Failure is the universe telling you, not this path, cross it off the list. Let us use the most beautiful metaphor in art history. Legend has it that when the legendary sculptor Michelangelo was asked how he created the statue of David, a work of art so detailed, alive, and perfect, he answered casually, "It is simple. I look at the rough marble block, and then I remove everything that is not David." Reflect on that sentence. I remove everything that is not David. He did not add marble to the statue. He performed subtraction. The beauty of David was already there from the beginning, buried by unnecessary stones. The artist's job was merely to remove the clutter covering it. Your life is that sculpting process, and your failures are the marble chips falling to the floor. Every time you fail in a business, it is not wasted time. It is you chiseling away a strategy that doesn't fit your character. Every time you break up and get your heart broken, those are marble chips falling. You are eliminating a type of partner not aligned with your soul. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, understood this very well. We often hear his cliché quote, but we rarely absorb its meaning. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Edison was not comforting himself. He was applying via negativa. He knew that every time a filament burned out and failed, he was getting closer to the one filament that would glow eternally. He found truth through elimination. So change your perspective on your history of failure. Don't view your past as a trash pile of failures. View it as marble chips you have successfully discarded. The more you fail, the more wrong options you eliminate, the clearer the true form of who you really are becomes. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to let failure erode everything that is not you, until all that remains is the true masterpiece. We often harbor a naive fantasy about success. We imagine success as a finish line, a mountain peak. We think, later, when I'm successful, I will never fail again. I will be safe. I will be perfect. I must shatter that fantasy right now because it is dangerous. The truth is, failure will never stop. Look at the greatest people in the world. An Olympic athlete still fails to break records. A CEO of a tech giant still launches products that flop. A legendary musician still writes terrible songs and throws them away. The difference between a beginner and a master is not about who never fails. The difference lies in the quality of the failure. A beginner fails because they don't know the basics. They fail because they are lazy. They fail because they are careless. That is level 1 failure. But a master? They fail because they are trying to do something no one has ever done before. They fail because they are pushing the boundaries of their ability. They fail at the edge of the cliff of innovation. Elon Musk doesn't fail because he can't assemble an engine. He fails because his rocket explodes while trying to land upright from space. That is an expensive, massive, and spectacular failure, but it is a high-quality failure. This is the essence of the message by playwright Samuel Beckett that is often misinterpreted. He wrote a beautifully mantra-like sentence. Ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail better. Pay attention to the words. He didn't say, try again and succeed. He said, fail better. Beckett realized that life is not about winning the game and finishing it. Life is about iteration, repetition that is continuously refined. Imagine your life is like walking. Physically, walking is actually a process of controlled falling forward. Every time you take a step, you let your body fall, then your leg catches it. Fall, catch, fall, catch. If you stop falling, you stop moving, you stand still. So, stop praying for a life without failure. A life without failure is the life of a corpse, or the life of a rock. Safe, but dead. Instead, have higher ambitions. Pray for more interesting failures. Pray for new failures. Don't repeat the same stupid failures as last year. That is a sign you are stagnant. Seek new problems. Make new mistakes you have never made before, because that is a sign you are growing. That is a sign you are climbing. Don't be afraid to look stupid. Don't be afraid of that spotlight that doesn't exist. And don't be afraid of the pain as your mental muscles tear. The world doesn't need more people playing it safe. The world needs people who dare to fall forward. So go out there, do that scary thing. And when you fall later, because you definitely will fall, make sure you smile. Stand up, brush off the dust, and say to yourself, this is a much better failure than yesterday's.